When we think of Alexander Graham Bell, we immediately associate him with the invention of the telephone, a device that revolutionized communication and forever changed the way people interacted across long distances. Bell's groundbreaking work in sound technology placed him among the greatest inventors in history. However, there is much more to Bell than his role in developing the telephone. Behind his widely known achievements are surprising and lesser-known aspects of his life that reveal his curiosity, eccentricity, and passion for innovation. In this video, we'll explore 5 surprising facts about Alexander Graham Bell that highlight the remarkable diversity of his interests and contributions beyond the telephone. While Alexander Graham Bell is best known for his pioneering work in sound and communication technology, his interests extended far beyond the auditory sciences. In fact, Bell had a deep fascination with genetics and animal breeding. This lesser-known passion led him to experiment with sheep breeding in an attempt to increase wool production. Bell's aim was to develop a breed of sheep that would produce more milk, which he believed could be beneficial for farmers. One of Bell's most unusual experiments involved selectively breeding sheep to produce a strain with an extra set of nipples. He hypothesized that sheep with additional teats could potentially nurse more lambs, leading to greater efficiency in livestock farming. Though this experiment may sound strange, it reflected Bell's scientific curiosity and his desire to apply the principles of heredity and biology to practical problems in agriculture. While Bell's sheep breeding endeavors did not achieve widespread success, they are a testament to his wide-ranging interests and willingness to explore unconventional ideas. Bell's curiosity knew no bounds, and his sheep breeding experiments are just one example of how his innovative spirit extended into unexpected areas. Despite his lasting legacy as the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell had a complicated relationship with his most famous creation. Bell's true passion lay in the fields of sound, hearing, and communication for the deaf. He viewed the telephone as a side project, and while it brought him worldwide recognition, Bell did not see it as the culmination of his life's work. Instead, he saw the invention of the telephone as a distraction from what he considered his more important research. Bell was so focused on his work in auditory science and teaching speech to the deaf that he famously refused to have a telephone installed in his study. He felt that the telephone, with its constant interruptions, would interfere with his concentration and productivity. To Bell, the telephone was a useful tool for others, but an intrusion in his personal workspace. This surprising fact reveals the complexity of Bell's character. While the telephone became one of the most significant inventions in history, Bell himself remained more interested in advancing human communication in ways that aligned with his deeper passions. His reluctance to embrace the telephone in his own life highlights the difference between public recognition and personal fulfillment for the inventor. Alexander Graham Bell's inventive mind was not limited to sound technology. One of his lesser-known innovations involved the development of an early form of air conditioning. In the late 19th century, long before modern air conditioning systems were commonplace, Bell was experimenting with ways to cool his home in the summer heat. His solution involved pumping cold water through a series of pipes, which effectively lowered the temperature inside his house. This precursor to air conditioning was based on Bell's understanding of thermodynamics and heat transfer. By circulating cold water through pipes embedded in the walls and floors, Bell was able to create a cooling effect that made the indoor environment more comfortable. While this system was relatively simple compared to the advanced air conditioning technologies we use today, it demonstrated Bell's ability to apply scientific principles to solve everyday problems. Bell's cooling system may not have gained the same level of fame as his telephone, but it reflects his practical ingenuity and his desire to improve quality of life through innovation. His efforts to create a more comfortable living space highlight another facet of his inventive mind, one that extended beyond communication technology and into the realm of everyday convenience. One of Alexander Graham Bell's lifelong passions was improving communication for the deaf. Growing up in a family of educators who specialized in elocution and speech, Bell developed a deep interest in helping the deaf community learn to speak. His mother was deaf, and his father, Alexander Melville Bell, had invented a system called visible speech, which used symbols to represent the position of the mouth and tongue when producing different sounds. Building on his father's work, Bell became a passionate advocate for teaching speech to the deaf. He believed that learning to speak would allow deaf individuals to integrate more fully into society. Bell spent much of his career working with deaf students, using visible speech techniques to help them learn how to produce sounds and form words. Bell's commitment to the deaf community went beyond his work as an educator. He founded schools for the deaf, including the Clark School for the Deaf in Massachusetts and the American Association to promote the teaching of speech to the deaf. Bell's approach to teaching speech was controversial at the time, as some members of the deaf community preferred the use of sign language. Nonetheless, Bell's dedication to improving communication for the deaf was a central part of his life's work. While Bell is often remembered for the telephone, his contributions to education and his advocacy for the deaf are equally important aspects of his legacy. His efforts to create visible speech techniques underscore his desire to break down barriers to communication and enhance human connection. Among the many surprising anecdotes from Alexander Graham Bell's life is the story of his Skye Terrier, a dog that he famously trained to imitate human speech. Bell's fascination with sound and speech extended beyond humans. He was intrigued by the vocal capabilities of animals and believed that certain animals could be taught to produce human-like sounds with proper training. Bell's most successful experiment in this regard was with his Skye Terrier, who learned to say the phrase, "How are you, Grandmama?" Bell accomplished this feat by manipulating the dog's vocal apparatus and carefully conditioning the animal to produce specific sounds. While the dog's speech was not perfectly clear, it was recognizable enough to impress those who heard it. This quirky experiment with his dog reflects Bell's playful curiosity and his relentless drive to explore the limits of communication. Whether he was developing groundbreaking technology or teaching a dog to speak, Bell was constantly experimenting with new ways to push the boundaries of sound and language. The story of the talking terrier adds a touch of whimsy to Bell's otherwise serious legacy as a scientist and inventor. In conclusion, Alexander Graham Bell was a man of extraordinary intellect and wide-ranging interests. While he is best known for inventing the telephone, Bell's contributions extended far beyond this single achievement. From experimenting with sheep breeding to creating early air conditioning systems, Bell's curiosity led him to explore a wide variety of scientific fields. Bell's passion for teaching speech to the deaf and his dedication to improving communication for all people were central to his life's work. Even his playful experiments, such as teaching his dog to speak, demonstrate his boundless enthusiasm for exploring the mysteries of sound and language. So, the next time you think of Alexander Graham Bell, remember that he was more than just the inventor of the telephone. He was a man whose diverse interests and inventive spirit shaped many aspects of modern life. Thank you for watching. And if you found these facts about Alexander Graham Bell surprising, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into history's most influential figures.